There is no concept in the whole field of physics which is more difficult to understand than the concept of entropy, nor is there one which is more fundamental. Francis Sears. The concept of entropy is an extremely fascinating concept and can be applied to so many different areas of life if you really dive in and try to understand it. So there's a more scientific definition for entropy, and it's used in very complex physics applications, but the concept of entropy can also be extrapolated and altered a little bit so you can apply it to other areas of life, and that's what I like to do with the concept of entropy. And entropy is associated with the amount of randomness, disorder, or uncertainty of a system. And all systems are prone to a movement towards uncertainty, towards chaos, and towards disorder. And so basically what we do as human beings, as life forms really, is we run around deploying energy to combat the entropy of different systems. For example, as human beings, we try to uphold our own bodily systems so that we can survive and eventually reproduce. And when we reproduce, what we're doing is we're delaying the entropy of our genetic information, because if you don't reproduce, you are eventually going to die. Death is a form of entropy. And if you die, you're not going to pass on your genetic information, you're not going to pass on your genes, and you are not going to be slowing the entropy of your genes across a long time frame. So much of the human condition, so much of what we do is we deploy energy to keep systems from going into a state of disorder. That's why we take care of our homes and we keep things organized and we clean our house. If we don't do those things, if we don't deploy energy to take care of our homes, whether it be cleaning it yourself or hiring other people to do it, your home will eventually go into a state of complete disorder from not being organized, from not being taken care of. And the same thing happens with the body. If you don't take care of your body and you don't deploy energy to exercise and to give your body the nutrients that it needs, your body will, the entropy of your body will accelerate, and you will die much quicker than if you deploy energy to slow those processes. Another area where it applies is with habits and skills. We deploy energy on a daily basis to strengthen certain networks in our brain that are dedicated towards the habits and skills that we execute on a daily basis. This is why if you don't engage in a habit or a skill for a very long time, you become rusty. The very structure in your brain that's designed to execute that habit or skill, entropies, becomes more disordered. Luckily, every time you engage in a habit or a skill, you are reversing the entropy of that system in your mind. Another example is sleep. Every night as human beings, we sleep, and what happens is the entropy of your cognitive function increases since the last time you slept. If you go long enough without sleeping, your mind will go into a complete state of chaos and disorder. You'll start to hallucinate. And that is because the state of the mind entropies from the last time you've slept, and the next time you sleep, it reverses that. It clears out the toxic chemicals out of the brain. It reinforces learning and revitalizes the structures in your mind that are designed for you to, again, go out and deploy energy to slow the entropy of various different systems. So entropy is something, again, it's a much more complex in the physics sense, in the scientific sense. But if you just take it as a form of disorder, a form of randomness, and you can apply it to all different areas of life. Another area where it applies is relationships. When you create a relationship, the relationship requires maintenance, right? It requires you reaching out to the person, interacting with them, strengthening the bond between you. The longer that you go without seeing the person, without interacting with the person, the more that the relationship will actually entropy and go into a state of disorder. But every time you reconnect, you hang out again, you talk to each other again, that revitalizes and reduces the entropy of that system, keeping it going for longer, right? Familial bonds are the strongest relationships and are the most resistant to entropy because you share genes with each other. So the human body and mind are designed to be able to uphold relationships with people that you share genes with more so than relationships with people that you do not share genes with or don't have a shared genetic interest with, like a romantic partner that you might have children with. Those relationships are also very strong and long-lasting as well, because again, the human mind and body are designed to uphold those, to deploy energy, to resist the entropy. And this applies to many other things. The human mind and body are designed to be able to uphold and slow the entropy of certain things more than others. For example, the human mind and body dedicates a lot of energy and resources towards keeping you breathing, towards keeping all of your bodily systems functioning properly. So it's almost like you have this giant network, this autonomic nervous system that's designed to deploy energy to keep you moving and to prevent the entropy of your cells and your DNA and these sorts of things. You could also apply this to society and to societal structures. As human beings, we create organizations and structures that uphold society and keep humanity moving forward. We have governments, we have corporations, we have education systems, militaries. We have all of these different systems that are designed to uphold the organization and the order of society and to slow the entropy of said society. However, historically, all societies have reached an inevitable end or an inevitable deterioration. Even though they're designed to slow the entropy, a lot of times societies eventually accumulate so much disorder, so much randomness and chaos that they eventually tend to collapse. And this is why every empire that has ever existed on the face of the planet has eventually collapsed. Some have been able to hold off the entropy longer than others, but every empire is destined for inevitable collapse and destruction due to the force of entropy, which is all systems tend towards disorder. And scientists have even applied this to the very universe itself, and there's various debate on whether or not the universe is ultimately destined for heat death, but that's another discussion. If you're interested in entropy as much as I am, I wrote an article on entropy, disorder, and struggle, and I'll leave the link to that article below in the description. Go check that out.